Okay, Ray from Love Your RV and Boat. Continuing with the electrical upgrades, we installed a smart plug, 30 amp smart plug, to the power inlet on our boat. And now I'm going to next in line install this ActiveStart Advanced Intelligent Soft Starter for RVs, boats, and homes. Reduces startup amps by 50%, supports multiple loads, starts ACs with a small generator, built-in surge protection. So I've reviewed a couple of the different products for this company in the past. Their actual one that plugs into an RV pedestal, or I guess you could plug it into the boat dock shore power outlet. I didn't really want to do that on the dock because it'd be left out in weather and kind of lying on the dock. So they do recently have a new one that's made of metal enclosure that you can hardwire into your system, so that would be much better for my boat. I can hardwire it in. So I just took it apart to see what we have to do here. You can see in there, it's quite an advanced circuitry in there. I think that might be the Bluetooth chip, but there is Bluetooth, so you can look at everything on their smart app on the phone, monitor your equipment, see what the voltage and power and wattage draw is. Got a bunch of things here for surge protection. There's also a couple, I think they're called thyristors there, and that's part of the soft start circuitry. And all sorts of other chips and that. Anyway, this company's out of Florida, kind of a newer player to the game. They just started, I think, about a year or so ago, and kind of competing with some of the ones that are already on the market. But talking to the guy, I've had quite a bit of communications with the owner engineer, and he seems like a really reasonable, nice guy and eager to improve his products. I've done testing for him and given him feedback, and all the time he's kept coming out with newer versions and updating the software on them to make them better and better. Recently I did the wire-in soft starter on my air conditioner. I tested for you and installed it for you in a video not too long ago, and was able to run my air conditioner off a 2000 watt inverter, so that was kind of nice. You never know in the boat. I decided I wanted to get one for the boat, so he kindly offered to send this out to me no charge. I'm not getting paid or anything cash, but this was a free product sample for me to install, use on the boat, test, give him feedback, and give you guys a look at it. So installation should be pretty easy. You just have to do it right in line where the power's coming in from the shore power connection. Just to let you know, I'm not an electrician or any electronic tech. I've been an electronic technician in the past, but I'm not an electrical technician, not a marine technician, so keep that in mind. You may want to get one of those guys to do it. So take everything I say with a grain of salt and follow the manufacturer's instructions. That's basically what I'm going to do. The wiring closet in the boat is a little overwhelming when you first look at it, so I just created this block diagram so you can kind of follow along with me when I install the ActiveStart. So this is the 30 amp smart plug that I installed. That's the boat's main power input there. So it's going to go from there down into the ActiveStart input, and then output from the ActiveStart will go right to my main AC panel. Now the main AC panel has a few breakers on it. One is for the water heater, there's a spare, but the other one is for the inverter, so it feeds output to a 2000 watt inverter charger. So that can charge the battery bank, or the battery bank when you're off-grid can supply the inverter. From the inverter there's AC power that goes to an AC sub-panel, and that sub-panel then runs the outlets and the fridge, and there's also a spare on there. There's a spare on a couple of these that I can add in the future. So when I'm plugged into shore power, it goes through the main panel, and then the inverter charger has a transfer switch that will transfer power to the AC panel. So yeah, it's a pretty simple in block diagram, but you'll see when I show you the wiring closet, it won't appear simple at that point. There's a lot of cleaning up to do in there and reorganizing, dressing leads and stuff. But anyway, today we're going to install the ActiveStart. Okay, let me try to explain the installation that I'm going to do here. This is my electrical closet behind all the DC and AC panels. Anyway, up in there, kind of up there, is where the smart plug was installed. Now the 30 amp input cable kind of is routed along the top up there, kind of comes down behind here, and then there's the 30 amp breaker, and then it supplies a water heater and the inverter. Then it goes down to an inverter charger. I've taken out the original and I'm installing a brand new inverter charger. That'll be the next video. Anyway, you can see where the power goes into the inverter and out. It's got a built-in charger and a transfer switch in it. So what I propose to do is take the wire off of this panel and reroute it. Rather than going up and around, I'm going to go straight down into here, and then I want to mount my ActiveStart right here. It seems to be a nice place to mount. Also, it's easy for me to get at and work on. And then out of that, I'll run a wire up and reattach it to the main input panel here. Well, got her all connected in there. So the boat uses a 3-wire cable, 10 gauge, called boat cable, and it's a stranded wire. It's like, unlike, you know, just a solid wire, I couldn't fit it into those connectors and just do them up. So I had to get some crimp connectors here and then use my crimper to crimp some on, but I got her attached. You can see there's a black line in, line out, and then the neutrals and grounds just go pass straight through. So they're just switching the line there when they're turning it on and off. Okay, so I'm going to get her mounted back over in there. I didn't have enough wire to mount it here, but I have enough to put it over there. There we go. So mounted it back in there. You can see that white wire coming down is my input feed for my smart plug. Goes into the ActiveStart surge protector, soft starter. Comes out of that. It's running along here. It's coming up behind and attached to my main fuse panel. So we'll just turn, it shows voltage there, turn that on. Now I've set up their app here. It's pretty easy to set up. There's a number on the box itself and a QR code. You have to put that in when you make a connection. So once the connection's good, it'll remember that device, because you can have multiple soft starters. So we'll go back, it's showing 118 volts, 60 hertz. So let's turn on my water heater, make sure it's picking up the wattage. Water heater's been off for quite a while. And there we go, 1370 watts. Also has a total energy meter, temperature inside the box. Cool. Shows me how many amps I'm drawing right now for the water heater, 11 amps, and voltage. So on here I also have a spare. It's not hooked to anything. And then here is to turn on the inverter. So when the power comes in, it only really runs the water heater. You have to flick this to inverter to send power down to the inverter so that it can go through its transfer switch and then come to this sub panel here, run my outlets and refrigerator. So we'll just check and make sure this is going down the wire, flick that on. Now this is the wire that the old inverter was hooked to, so we'll just make sure that's live. Yeah, so I have power there. Flick that off. So in the next video, I'll continue on and take that and hook it up to this brand new Xantrex inverter. Pretty excited. This brand new inverter will have a 100 amp charger, and it's a 2000 watt inverter. I think a 4000 watt surge, and it's pretty well wired for DC in there. I have big cables and a shut off switch because it's replacing a 2000 watt Xantrex. The only difference that I'm changing is I had to use one of these white wires to do this ActiveStart surge protector installation there. So I picked up this other cable. It's a nice black cable. It's got 10 gauge, 3 wires, so it should do a good job. Also, that way I'll know which is which. I'll know that's the one that's going up to the inverter. So I've already gone up and wired it into my sub panel here with some connectors that I crimped on. So stay tuned for that. Till next time, Ray from Love You RV and Boat. Any questions, just leave them in the comments. Cheers, guys.